Well, it's late, early hours of the morning, and one seat to be filled, and Councillor Mick Quinn of Sinn Fein looks to be the man that's going to get it. Mick, it's been a long 2 days here, but Donald Cullen has more or less conceded now that he's not going to pass you by, even with the distribution of Noel McBride's surplus. Some relief and I'm sure delight, a mixture of all those emotions.
Absolutely, Charlie. Again, we have to wait for the presiding officer to rule on the vote and on the transfers, but I suppose we would be cautiously optimistic that we will take the second seat here.
Yeah.
And that was our strategy from early on. We decided that for Sinn Fein to remain a force in Donegal, we would have to expand our representation right across the county. So we've taken 2 seats in Inishowen today, 2 in the Glenties ward, 1 in Donegal, 2 in Sinn, and we're really hopeful of taking the second seat here.
Yeah, which is going to be 9 seats from 11 candidates, Mick, and I spoke to Pierce Doherty here yesterday. That's what he was hoping for, and I mean, that is a tremendous performance for the party.
It's absolutely incredible. But again, I suppose it's the people who voted for us, and there's a palpable air amongst the people of this county, the amount of anger, and I suppose to a certain extent they feel that they were betrayed, because we all know that in the last general election Fine Gael and Labour seemed to offer hope to people, and people in their droves took them at their word and voted for them. And there's been absolutely no change in government policies from what was happened before with Fianna Fáil. So it's just, we've always said that Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil are just 2 different sides of the same coin. No difference in policies, it's only differences in personalities.
Yeah. And on Friday the people got an opportunity to have their say, and my God, Mick, they've really set down a marker for all political parties.
Absolutely. I suppose some of the major stories of this election in Donegal would be the surge towards independence and the surge towards Sinn Fein, and Fine Gael have had a very bad election up here.
Yeah.
And as I say, Labour really weren't a huge political force up here anyway, and in fairness, Martin Farron has retained the seat, and I have to congratulate him for that.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think things are changing very much, not just in this county, but I think throughout the whole country. I mean, we're cautiously optimistic that our 3 MEP candidates in the south will get elected to Europe. And I know we've had major surges in Dublin and right across the country. So I think it's time for the government to sit up and take notice. People can't take any more austerity. People can't pay any more, and they really need to start changing their policies, changing their direction, and listen to the people.
Yeah. And with that success that Sinn Fein have had over this weekend comes responsibility as well, because people are putting you there because they think, Mick, that you guys can produce stuff that they're not seeing from other parties. It's easier said than done, and you've been around long enough to know that.
Well, I think, without a shadow of a doubt, people are electing us for a reason, for a purpose, and they're also looking for hope. And what we've been saying all along, it's just about a fair and equitable distribution of the wealth in the country. Keep saying, why would a public servant be valued at more than €100,000 a year of a salary? It's absolutely ridiculous. We don't need those gross wages in the public service, in banking, a fair taxation system, where those people who can actually afford to pay, and there are many of them out there, but where those people who can afford to pay their fair share. We can't keep squeezing the ordinary families all the time, because they just don't have it to give. And it's very clear in our local communities, the less money that ordinary families have to spend, the less revenue will be generated in their local communities, the less the government can take from tax on that. So the economic policies are totally illogical. I think basically what they're trying to do, they're trying to get us to starve our way out of a famine, and that's not going to work.
We're going to see a new look council here in Donegal. Mick, Sinn Fein are going to be strong there. The independents are going to be strong. Fianna Fáil are going back with a fairly strong mandate as well. As you say, Fine Gael and Labour are going to be really on the back benches. So there's a huge responsibility in you all now to support the county and represent the county, because as someone who has been there for the last 5 years, that hasn't always been the way in Donegal County Council.
Well, I think the last 5 years of this council term, there was a major change, and we were very instrumental in it, in so far as we got cross-party agreement in relation to the mayor roles and the deputy mayor roles. In Donegal, in the last 5 years, I have had a Fianna Fáil mayor and deputy mayor, Fine Gael mayor, deputy mayor, Labour mayor, deputy mayor, Sinn Fein mayor, deputy mayor, and Independence mayor and deputy mayor. And that's really about respecting the voters who voted for all those different parties. And I think in general there was quite good cooperation. I know there were a few blips along the way.
Yeah. Maybe that's a minor statement, is it?
I'm trying to be polite when I'm on TV. But no, I think in general we did work well for the county. But the one thing I will say, Charlie, right, we make no bones about it. We were very clear when the budget meetings and the budget negotiations were on this year that we would be willing to deprive ourselves of employment and reject the budget simply because it was insufficient, and it's proven to be insufficient. And we have no doubt that we'll do the same thing next year. And the people are aware that this was a threat, a real threat we made, yet they still have elected an increased number of Sinn Féin councillors. So it's obviously a position that the general public in this county accept has been the right thing to do.
And finally, are you looking forward to going back to Milford for another 5 years with an increased representation from your party?
The first thing I'm looking forward to is the sleep. Yeah, and actually, of course, it's an exciting time for us in Sinn Féin that we'll either have 8 or 9 seats, up from 4, and it'll give us that. Probably it'll divide the workload equally, because being a county councillor, there is a fair amount of work in it, and if you're covering a full geographical region, it means that there's that much more pressure on you. So if you are now working alongside somebody who's also been elected with the same party, we can divide up the workload and probably deliver a much more professional and probably much more timely service to the public.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a tough battle here over the last couple of days. We'll say we know we're a little bit premature, but fairly confident now you're going to be returning, Mick, and congratulations on that.
Well, thanks a million, Charlie, in the interim.